From here, the line leisurely followed the river's course some distance into the interior, where, at a point above a place called Njole, its path was barred by a slash across the river indicating rapids. The arrows and dashes then made an abrupt about-face back down the OgoouE as far as Lambarene, where instead of following the main river channel, they diverged into a northern artery and then abruptly left the river altogether and continued overland. At this point, something seemed to have gone terribly awry, for a question mark appeared beside the dashes and arrows, and the broken line seemed to falter as it threaded its way past unspecified lakes northward to the OgoouE River, which it reached at a place marked Agonjo. From this point, the line made more confident progress, zipping downstream to the river mouth and continuing triumphantly across the Gabon estuary to Glace, situated on the coast only a few miles south of its starting point at Libreville. Turning to the text, I discovered that while the opening chapters of the Travels briefly characterized Miss Kingsley's ports of call along the West African coast, at Sierra Leone, the Gold Coast, the Spanish island of Fernando Po, and Calabar, and the concluding chapters described her exploits in Cameroon, the bulk of the book's nearly 700 pages was concerned with her extensive travels in what was then the Gabon territory of the French Congo, by her own account, the wildest and most dangerous part of the West African regions. Transfixed by my discovery, I settled down among the stacks to investigate the book on the spot, and found that it contained an odd mixture of personal travel narrative, history, and hefty doses of African religion and customs. But the greatest revelation was the style in which the book was written, of which selected examples can give but a mere taste. Describing her arrival in Libreville, for example, Miss Kingsley relates how French customs officials demanded that she pay 15 shillings for a license for her pistol. "This seems a heavy sum," she muses, "so I ask, what I may be allowed to shoot if I pay this? May I daily shoot governors, heads of departments, and sous-officiers?" Or the following conversation at Lambarene. "I availed myself of the offer of a gentleman to paddle me back in his canoe. He introduced himself as Samuel, and volunteered the statement that he was a very good man. Mrs. Samuel was a powerful, pretty lady, and a conscientious and continuous paddler. Mr. S. was none of these things, but an ex-Bible reader with an amazing knowledge of English, which he spoke in a quaint falsetto, faraway sort of voice. And that man's besetting sin was curiosity. "Where be your husband, ma?" was the conversational bomb he hurled at me. "I no got one," I answer. "No got?" says Samuel, paralyzed with astonishment. "No got one, ma?" "No," says I furiously. "Do you get much rubber round here?" Or an incident on the OgoouE River. I received a considerable shock by hearing a well-modulated, evidently educated voice saying in most perfect English, "Most diverting spectacle, madam, is it not?" Now, you do not expect to hear things called diverting spectacles on the OgoouE. So I turned round and saw standing on the bank against which our canoe was moored what appeared to me to be an English gentleman who had from some misfortune gone black all over and lost his trousers and been compelled to replace them with a highly ornamental tablecloth. Breezy, ironic, bantering, the passages of brilliant hilarity mixed with informative discussion and descriptive beauty, the author's voice sparkled from the pages. Having thumbed to the end of the book, I turned back to the beginning and read Miss Kingsley's preface to the reader, where, after begging pardon for her heinous literary crime, she concludes as follows.